Oh, my friends, I'm going political on this one. I think it's high time that we raise the standard. Kind of think about it this way. When we build a skyscraper, we go way down deep into the soil, right? To build a firm foundation. So it has to go deep, 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 deep down so that it can go way up high in the sky. And then the taller it is, the deeper it goes into the soil, okay? That is how we are called to be as Christians. So we won't be shaken. So we have this gridiron, statuesque ability to peak high above all the problems, and that we are kind of that beacon of light. Okay? So if you're incapable of setting that standard and being different in this world, then it'd be best to just zip it up. Okay? And I'm going to address things like this. If you are sitting in a pew at your church and you've got a problem with either your Democratic or your Republican sister or brother sitting next to you because you just can't understand how they could be a Christian and support this or that, then let me just say you'd be better off playing around a golf at the country club. Just skip out on church because it's really a waste of everybody's time. If we're not discerning the spirit behind politicians and we're in fact jumping on any bandwagon that one is better than the other, we would be dumbing ourselves down to as simplistic and remedial as the world's ways. I'm not being mean. I just want you to open your eyes a little bit, have some spiritual eyesight. And here's what I'm going to ask. Since when has politics ever been on the side of its people? Look at the course of history. Do we ever see where politicians are really following through on any initiative? I mean, because I've been in education for many, many years, and many of those little things that they say is going to be the next movement fizzles out in a few years, and that's because money was the motive. So when you think about Obama's kids and Trump's kids, they've got privy information. They've got privileges that can take them to country clubs and fancy galas and schools that our kids never have access to. Let's just put that in perspective. Are they really championing all of our little goals and dreams? In fact, they may actually be trying to hinder them because the new move is micromanaging every little decision we make. And that has never been the freedom that Christ brings. So when I hear of these people that are up in arms because of being slandered against, I have to laugh because I was that white bee from the north in Savannah schools for 4 years where I was hated because of the color of my skin. Legitimately, I had a 6-year-old say, "F you, white bee," because I told her I liked the bow in her hair. So when I say to you that the Black Lives Matter movement came about when I was in those schools, and I had scissors taken to my jugular because they didn't like the fact that I was trying to help them, that's ignorance, my friends. Okay? That's racism. Okay? I have been the subject of racism. So has the Jews. The Jews suffered the Holocaust, right? So there was no living relative to that 6-year-old's family that was a slave on this earth. Ancestry, fine. We all have ancestry. Okay, you don't see Jews, the Orthodox Jews, you don't see them picketing down the streets of Savannah saying, "I need to be heard, my right to live, my right for expression." Let me just offer to you that politicians are in the business of creating slaves because it's a slavery mentality. It begins here first. If you believe that you are enslaved to something, then you actually are. You are. I'll give it to you. But I want to challenge you in anything that causes a stir, that brings up disillusionment, that may be called a rebel to religious folks, because I definitely would be called that. But then again, these religious folks are, they're operating from the religious spirit. Don't do this, do this. Isn't that the same as politicians? I'm curious, I'm asking. Because if you're reminding somebody of what they're doing wrong in hopes of motivating them to doing something right, it ain't gonna work. Never in the history of existence, the human condition doesn't work that way. If you edify somebody from the heart, your mouth speaks. If you build that person up and you say, "Yeah, I hear where you're coming from. I know it really stinks that we have somebody who you perceive is evil in the White House, but what do you think, he's the first? Get serious. When have any of them been on our side? To use a brain cell, it might suggest that we band together and say, hey, guess what? In reality, the color of our skin doesn't matter. In reality, the political party that you represent doesn't matter. I mean, if we really tapped into some smarts, we would say that that's not going to get us anywhere. It hasn't in the history of time. We have brothers and sisters turning against each other. We have people making snide remarks all the time. I don't comment on any of it. I observe, and I immediately know who's not trustworthy, because if you are that quick, if you're that quick to light up and be offended and to, have to make your stance because your people have been oppressed, I will not be your friend. I'm going to see you as, you need some healing. Okay, you work on that. Cool, you are allowed your expression. I don't have to express mine. I just simply don't. I get to walk away. I will never put my hopes in this government. I will never put my hopes in people. I will never put my hopes in the greatest movement or the new initiative. Give me a break. Why? Because I'm not Skyscraper. My roots go down deep. And in fact, they're going to soak up the water from the waterbed. Because as I go high into the sky, I am going to be that light that changes the atmosphere wherever I go, because I am the church. If churches are political, then they're following in the world system. I mean, you can go to bars and you can see slogans that say, we don't discuss politics and religion here. But yet, how many of our churches are embracing a Democratic or Republican stance? Dude, it was never meant to mix. I'm really baffled with that. So you do know, right, that if you hate somebody and you spew hatred against them, you're not really loving your enemy. Just saying. So in order for us to be Christians, then that means we love our enemies, does it not? That's what we should be doing. Instead of worrying about what our brother and sister is doing wrong, we really ought to be looking inside and saying, wow, that was hateful. I've done it. I can be hateful. But it doesn't work. And we need to be growing tired of that, because we're not reinventing any wheels, okay, unless we're doing it with love. And love is actually going to be that thing that surprises people, because you're not going to partake in their political party, whatever thing they need to have everybody jump on the bandwagon for. Satan moves in masses, right? How many times in the Bible do we see that it's like the congregation of mass population, people coming together? And then you have, like, God raise the standard, and it's like one person blows a trumpet and the walls fall. I mean, come on. I mean, we're just called to be a Christian people, not a political people. So be that skyscraper, please. Let's maybe, build a few of them so that our cities have a refuge and a safe place to go, because we're going to need it.